Good morning, Bitcoins. This is Chris before coffee, live from New Jersey.
Yes, and we've launched on this tweet that we've just put out. We're pretty much begging for money, aren't we, Tom?
We've gotten to that stage,
We,
yes.
it has pretty much gotten
Expenses
to,
are stacking up.
I mean, I don't know what to say. It's pretty undignified.
It's not the best position we've ever been in.
So basically, Tom and I came up to New Jersey. We're staying with Michelle Seven, who's still in bed, which is why we're whispering. And we're about to make our way to Porkfest. So last night we had to do a kind of last-minute shopping run. We kind of got some sleeping bags. We went to Walmart. It's my first ever time in Walmart, by the way. It's pretty epic. You can pretty much see New York when you walk in, like the other side of the store. And it took us about, what, 30 minutes to get to the camping section?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
We had to cross over a whole supermarket to get there.
It was pretty big. It was pretty damn big. So yeah, we've had to buy kind of lots of camping gear, and we kind of realised we've got to hire a car, we've got to get back. Tom's got a flight back. I've already paid for my flight. I just have to pay a transfer fee. Thank you very much for all the Bitcoins you've sent in so far. You've been very, very kind. You can check out all the videos. We were the first, I think we were the first people to upload all the videos from Bitcoin in the Beltway. We do plan to do more, so if you have enjoyed the videos that you've seen so far, please do donate some more. We're going to do some videos at Porkfest. We should be able to get some internet, I think. We've got internet on my phone, so I should be able to.
We've got videos on the Mad Bitcoins channel and on the World Crypto Network channel. And not all of our videos have been uploaded yet. We will be uploading more when we get home to better internet and Wi-Fi. But we do have a lot of videos up already, and we hope that you'll donate to support us.
How much do you reckon we need, Tom?
We need, well, the rental car is going to be about $400 to $500.
So at least $1,000.
Yeah, the flight back's going to be about $300. The Porkfest is a couple $100, maybe some food, some gas. So,
Yeah.
$1,000 would help us out a lot. I mean, obviously, we're going to spend our own money here. We're not saying you have to support all of us, but if you could get us 70, 80% there, that would help out a lot.
Yeah, no, that would be absolutely great. We really, really appreciate that. So, what are we talking about today, Tom?
Well, we're talking about what we did. We obviously went to Walmart. We drove from Washington, D.C. to New Jersey. So Chris got to see the Garden State of New Jersey. What'd you think? Beautiful roads?
All it was trees. I could have been in England.
Yeah.
Like, in driving, what was different was the roads were like 3 times as large as in England.
Yeah.
The cars were 4 times as large. And you drive really slow in this country. The speed limit is 65 miles an hour, and in England it's like 70, but nobody does that. And then you've got like a toll booth every like 50 miles or something.
Yeah,
so you've got to keep stopping. That's a New Jersey thing, apparently. It's not like that in California.
Yeah.
It's much better.
Well, we pay tolls when we go over bridges.
Right.
I'm fine with that. Bridges are expensive, I think. But in Jersey, they seem to pay tolls every couple miles. Sometimes they even collect $1.50 in coins from you. I don't know what they're doing with all those coins. Maybe a video or.
Is it even worth it for $1.50?
Not to stop.
To build all that infrastructure, to like have everyone stop, go through like a gate.
And the ticket system, the turnpike, you get a ticket, and how long you drive depends on how much you pay.
Yeah.
That's a complicated idea.
Yeah. So, I want to talk a little bit about a friend of mine called Andre. He actually sent me an email after yesterday's show. He was picking up on something I said about what he thinks that there is a need for charisma in the Bitcoin space, that we basically need a little bit more kind of leadership to help people understand the truth of what this is. And this is what he said in his email to me. I hope he doesn't mind me reading this out. He says, the way I see it, the success of Bitcoin is dependent on people realizing that it's not a thing, but more analogous to a force of nature. Right? There's a sense in which this is a fait accompli.
Yes.
That this is just going to happen.
The idea is so big.
The idea is radical, it's big, it's one way, and the only real question is how we respond to it, like how we take it, how we absorb it into our society. And Andreas Antonopoulos, has before talked about the fact that the more we try to regulate it and ban it, the more extreme it will become,
Yes.
the more anonymous it will become, more fragmented.
We're making our choices today.
Yeah, you used a very good phrase back in one of your early videos last year, saying that every time governments try to ban something, all they do is shatter into tiny pieces, and it becomes even more difficult to stop. And then he sent me, let's see how I can get my screen share up. This paper, and I haven't been able to find it on the internet, he just emailed it to me. It's a paper called Charisma and Authority by Lee Golos. I don't know where you can find this because I've done a quick search online, I haven't been able to find it, so I don't know if this is someone that he knows. But I wanted to quote you something from further down in the paper. I just skim read it. It says, "Routine life is the suppression of creativity. Creativity results from a transcendence of routine. The ideal philosopher, to Wittgenstein, has to cure himself of many sicknesses of the understanding before he can arrive at the notions of sound human understanding." I really, really like this. I don't know the author. I need to do a little bit more research, but there's some really good insights in this paper. And to me, like I've always thought that this isn't about Bitcoin, it's about us and the way we relate to each other. It's because that's fundamentally what governments do, is they regulate and restrict the way in which we relate to each other as human beings. I've said it before that I think the whole world right now is disarranged. We're all in the wrong place. That what the internet is doing is it's helping us to build new tribes. Like we're going back to the kind of the pre-Neolithic tribal eras. And we're all kind of coming together around communities based on what we really believe in. And I think that's going to undermine the city border and the state border. I think in the future, state borders will be tourist attractions. Like we'll turn up and we'll laugh at them.
Sure.
Like we'll look at these borders and there might still be some permeability, there may still be some friction when you travel. But I think money has something to do with movement and about you. It's a relationship, like I was saying yesterday, to distance and relating to things that are far away. So yeah, I think he's right. Like I think what's needed more within Bitcoin is the inspiration for people to just pick up and do something with this space, bring something to this industry that only they can bring. And what did you say yesterday? You said that action comes before motivation.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know where that's a quote from. You'll have to look it up. I can't remember. It was a quote from somewhere. And you're absolutely right. Like when I used to do the Feathercoin newsletters, what would work really well was just starting.
Yeah.
Like
starting is the key. And it's a tough statement to go through. Action comes before motivation, because you think, oh, I wish I was motivated. I'd write that book. I'd write that novel. I'd do that work I want to do. But once you take action, you start working on the project, you start outlining it, you start getting the basics down, then you realize that, yeah, this project could really become something if I put more into it. And that's where the motivation comes.
Yeah.
And then you loop back and you do more action.
Yeah.
And it really is about taking action.
It really is. And it's about not waiting to be ready. Yeah. And not saying, well, I can't do this yet until I've had my coffee.
I'm not the right one to talk about Bitcoin or do a meetup or tell your friends about it. Yeah. I'm not the right one to do that show. What you said earlier about the governments, it kind of seems like the governments are treating the people like children. And what Bitcoin is causing us to do is really grow up as a society, as a civilization.
Yeah.
So that really taking responsibility for things, like we're talking about, pretty much every day, living on your reputation. That's because if everything's being watched and recorded, yes, that's negative, it's Orwellian, but in another way, it's positive. If you start thinking not like I'm being watched and I'm being checked on a list negatively, I'm being watched and checked on a list positively. All the good things I'm doing are being measured. And if I keep doing good things, then something, the rewards will come, is what the Bitcoin idea goes with that, with the crowdfunding type idea. And, not just for us, for other people. My example lately is always a kid that wants a guitar and he doesn't have one and he crowdfunds for it. And he gets it, and then he plays it every day for 5 years, and he becomes a guitar player. Whatever your guitar is, Bitcoin can help you get that, because if 1,000 people gave $1, the kid could buy 3 guitars, maybe buy a ton of them.
Right.
It doesn't need a fancy.
And once you've done something, tell people about it, and don't worry about perfection. Don't worry about best is the enemy of the better, right? Don't try to make it perfect. The whole point of this show the format Chris before coffee was like, because I have this annoying habit of not doing anything until I've had my coffee, right? The coffee is always the thing that gets in the way of what I want to do. And it was just a constant excuse. And so I wanted to do it because it's like, now I'm forcing myself. Now I've got a reason to get out of bed in the morning, is to do these shows, right? And so please keep giving me your feedback down in the comments below. It really, really helps. So hopefully we've imparted some inspiration and some charisma to the people at home, so that you can get involved in this movement too. You don't have to wait for someone else to do it. Now, to finalize, kind of like just to talk a little bit about Bitcoin, we've been following this story of gigahash.io, and I noticed an article in The Economist, quite a big magazine, and they were talking about this issue, and they seem to think this is serious enough to warrant, column inches in their publication. And I'm sort of thinking, are people kind of overreacting to this a little bit? I mean, Vitalik in his talk, this is the distribution over the last 4 days on the hash rate that I'm looking at here. Vitalik made the point that even though it technically says it's 34% at gigahash, that the unknown is 9–10%.
Yeah.
So they could still be doing the 10%, and you'd have absolutely no idea. And one of the things that they use this really interesting phrase. They say, on June 13th, one of these consortia called gigahash.io managed to muster more than 51% of the computational capacity of the network, which caused a mild panic in some corners of the Bitcoin community. It not only meant that gigahash.io could win most of the rewards, the most computing power the consortium has, the more Bitcoin it can win. Yeah, I think people are starting to stress out about it a bit too much now. It looks like they have addressed the issue. It looks like a lot of miners have taken direct action for themselves. They have removed a lot of their miners from the gigahash pool to other competing networks. It looks like some of the other networks are growing. It does look like this is a self-stabilizing community, and I'm really, really encouraged by this.
And also look at the way The Economist is reporting on it. They're reporting on the panic. There's some ridiculous panic in the Bitcoin community, which they're using to blow up into a bigger story.
Yeah.
Which is all about reacting to Bitcoin with fear. They're not trying to understand Bitcoin. They're afraid of it. They're afraid of it failing already. And again, if they look at the economic sense, it doesn't make economic sense for a gigahash to destroy Bitcoin.
Right.
Previously, it was an outsider. An outsider like a government or PayPal could come in and destroy it.
It's to do with time preferences. I mean, they would only not do it if they could take a long enough time horizon, right? Yeah. So, and this came up on Twitter yesterday. There was an Ayn Randian tweeter who was having a go. Someone made a joke saying that, someone Rand Paul walks into a bar, orders a beer and dies because it's poisoned. Yeah. Because apparently the bar owner poisoned. It's a bad joke. No one should poison them. But it's because there's no regulation. It's a straw man argument, right? But the point is that you would only the Randian came back and said, why would any business owner want to poison his own customers? But that's not the point either. The point is whether or not these businesses are taking a long-term perspective or whether they're taking a short-term perspective. You can still make profits and still act against your customers' best interests. You just poison them slowly. Alcohol is a poison, right? So even when you're serving your customers perfectly good beer, you're still poisoning them in the long run, and alcohol is responsible for a lot of violence.
Our toy companies outsourced their production to China. China used inferior materials containing lead to cut costs, and the toy companies were trying to cut costs as well. This led to children being poisoned.
I think the only thing that stops someone from committing a crime is if they think they can get away with it.
Well, this comes back to what we were saying earlier: reputation, being watched, and again, going back to Buddhism, it's about right action and right thought. If you know the way, if your intentions are good. And if you make mistakes, like some people have good intentions, they do bad things, or they have good intentions and things go wrong. But at least if you're acting from good intentions, you're being public about what you're doing, you're being upfront and forward about it, telling them like you're gonna have less problems. That's what the thing seems to be from the past. Everyone else is trying to sneak by. They're like cutting corners and bad intentions and not explaining like if you have a problem, like we have a problem, we don't have money to travel. Like that's totally true. We're traveling without money. That's a problem. We put ourselves into that problem. It's our own fault. But we're trying to get out of it by acknowledging the problem, looking for possible solutions, cutting costs,
creating videos,
traveling less,
yeah,
like all these little things. And that's the best way to react to a problem. That's the public upfront way. The other way would be to hide it, to sneak around, to try to hope for, like Mark Karpelès, like theoretically, when they were running the exchange to try to pay back their loss from the hack or the computer problem or whatever they had, we don't know, it's a black box. They didn't come public. They didn't say we got a big problem. They could have shut it down then. They tried to keep running to pay back the fees, and that's this idea of being duplicitous.
Yeah, it was a collective delusion. It was groupthink. They all got themselves into a collective delusion, a reality distortion that it's okay. One day this will be okay.
A series of bad decisions, desperation. Because we always wonder, like, why would someone rip someone off? Why would someone in another country do an internet scam? Why would people? Well, they're desperate. They need help. They can't get help anywhere else. And I was reminded by this during BTC Jam's talk at Bitcoin, because basically it sounds like, to simplify it, BTC Jam's a lot like Kiva, the micro-lending site where you loan very small amounts of money. They use dollars. BTC Jam uses Bitcoins. Yeah. You can denominate the loans in dollars or pesos, so you don't have to take a Bitcoin loan and pay it back if the value goes up or whatever. You can take a peso loan and pay it back with Bitcoins equal to the value of your pesos. And that micro-lending, that idea of chipping in to other people, if they have good intentions and they need help and they describe what their help is, that's the future. That's it right there. That's what we need to start doing, is funding these people that need help. They have a lot of great statistics about how if you get a small loan, you can keep your job. And if you can't get a small loan, you can't keep your job.
Yeah, but what's the payback rate on BTC?
The payback rate, fortunately, they've adapted their system to have credit scoring and to check the backgrounds of the people. They had some really cool ideas, like getting your Facebook friends to vouch for you.
Lovely, like it.
They had another idea that I think it's not developed yet, but the idea is there, that your Facebook friends could actually put up money saying that you'll pay back the loan.
Yeah.
So that your friends are betting on you.
Very good.
If you don't pay back the loan, you're letting your friends down as well as the people putting up the money for the loan.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cool credit scoring ideas they're doing, but they have gotten the rate back up to 90%. In their A range borrowers, if you only need A people, 98%. And you could make a 20% return on your Bitcoin using this website, loaning the money to real people. And we're talking small loans, not very big loans. And I think it's fascinating, it's interesting, and it could help people, like Kiva.
That sounds really good. I really like the idea of your Facebook friends guaranteeing
It's that kind of outside, because they try to get everyone's financial documents, they try to do all the detail work they can, but having your friends into it, having your social network as a part of it, and that your friends would need loans too. So this is like you bet on their loans, they bet on your loans, and this would help the system.
That sounds really good. All right, guys. Well, we're about to get in a car, head up to PorcFest, and like I say, hopefully we'll be able to get to do some more videos. Please follow us on Twitter at WorldCryptoNet. Also, if you enjoyed the show and you want to see us do more, you can donate to the QR code currently on the screen. I also put the direct link to the blockchain address down in the comments as well. Thanks very much, and see you next time.